Roll the intro. Hey everybody, Nathan Elson here. I'm in the studio today. We're shooting a creative, and I've always loved that kind of Vanity Fair, old school glamour type look, so that is exactly what we're creating in the studio. I've got two canvas backdrops here. One of them is a custom painted backdrop that I just got done from Unique Backdrops in Serbia. Beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm going to be talking about that in another video very, very soon. But to walk you guys through the actual lighting setup, it's essentially a 3-light setup. Hey everybody, so I'm just watching this video right now and I decided that I wanted to put a little bit more detail into it, explain why I put the lights where I did, what the power settings were at, different things like that, just to give you a deeper understanding of what it is that I was doing when I created these portraits. So, alright, here we go. It's essentially a 3-light setup. The first one being this here, which is a collapsible beauty dish. And that's acting as my main. It's kind of giving me all my shape. It's a little bit harder light. So the collapsible beauty dish that I was using, it's not as large as the modifiers that I typically use. Normally you guys see me using, large umbrellas, that kind of thing. But I wanted the light to be a little less soft, a little bit more directional, so the smaller modifier helps to achieve that. It's also being a little bit of a beauty dish. It's not a true beauty dish, it's a collapsible, so it doesn't have that internal reflector that bounces everything back. It does act more as like a diffusion panel, that kind of thing, but it does still create that harder light. So I use that essentially to create the shape that's going on, and I didn't aim it directly at the model. It was coming more from the side, so rather than pointing it directly at her, it was essentially pointing and streaming across, and that's what's creating that transition of shadow. That you always hear me talk about feathering light, and that's all I was doing. And it just makes it so that A, it's not pumping a bunch of light into my backdrops and losing all of that depth and all of that shape, and B, it's creating those nice soft transitional shadows that go across the model in order to create a little bit of interest. Then up here I've got my large Profoto deep umbrella, and that's just adding a little bit of fill, kind of filling in onto the canvases, giving it that little bit of depth. Now when it comes to fill light, I typically meter it to be about 2 stops lower in power than what my main light is. Meaning that my main light in this portrait was metered to f8. So what I actually had my fill light set to is f4. Now what that does is it just makes it so that the shadows just open up a little bit. It doesn't create so much contrast. It makes it so that, the parts of her that are falling into darkness aren't falling into complete darkness. It allows me to control how much detail is actually shown throughout the image, throughout the backgrounds, everything like that. Now the reason I had the fill light so high is I wanted it to mimic light falling down. Rather than putting the fill light in the front and just filling everything evenly, I still wanted to create that drama. I wanted pieces of this image just fall into darkness, and the focus to be on her and on the light and kind of what was happening in that one little bubble, if you will, and everything else just to become very secondary. And then in here I've got an old school video light that is essentially just a shell, but what I've done is, if you can see in here, probably not, there is an aperture 120T, so tungsten value video light that I've stuffed in there that is creating the light for that. For the video light that I have stuffed in there, it's these aperture 120T cob lights, and this one is a tungsten balance, so they have a 120D as well, which is daylight balanced. So this one gives that warmer light. It was perfect for this project because I wanted that warm light to be coming out of the canister. I've got a few of these. They're an amazing head. They're metal. They're incredibly quiet because they are developed for video. It is an LED light, which is why I could stuff it in that canister and it didn't overheat. I would open it every once in a while just to make sure, but it's fan cooled. They're amazing light. I can't recommend them enough. I use them way more than I ever thought I would, and it's something that I think you guys should definitely look into if you're looking for video lighting or just constant lighting to be used in portraits. As far as the camera goes, I'm shooting it on my D800 with my Sigma 85mm art, and as always, this is what it looks like. And there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed that quick behind the scenes look. If you have any questions, sound off in the comments box below. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. You know I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys very, very soon.